decade earlier. The year after university, I hitchhiked to Prince Rupert from California with a copy of Tom Robbins's Even Cowgirls Get the Blues in my jacket pocket. The journey was a crash course in Cascadian ways for a New Englander naturally bent toward the Old World. There was a lure in the sense of freshness and impermanence. This time, the only staff member on duty at the hostel was a woman in her 40s with long sandy hair. She had a slight accent, and I asked where she was from. She said Sweden, by way of Oregon. An easiness filled the space between us, like we were old housemates, because I was the only guest in the dorms. I floated in and out of the common room, snacking nervously and flipping through books. I imagined that being Scandinavian made her sympathetic to my strange ambition. "What are you doing with all this stuff?" she had asked me in the afternoon when I kept returning outside for more. Heaped on the wood floor were a backpack with a shotgun strapped to it, an orange polyethylene sled, wooden snowshoes, a ballistic nylon duffel bag, and a pair of Norwegian expedition skis with a stern portrait of explorer Roald Amundsen emblazoned in red on each tip. "I'm skiing across Canada," I said. Walking the dark streets of Prince Rupert that night was something I had long been waiting for. For some reason, the town had a haunting magnetism, and I wondered whether this expedition was not simply an excuse for me to go back to it, back to a place that felt like it might fall off the map, cease to exist. Why was I drawn to such places, especially if they were cold and rain-soaked? Even now I know I must return. To think about it pulls me there. It's like a gray autumn day, saturated with a sense of loss, but infinitely rich. Prince Rupert is said to outrain every place on earth. Sarah DeLu, Canadian author of a collection of essays on northern British Columbia towns, has written a dismal homage to this one. The rainfall in Prince Rupert is unparalleled, but it does not drown monsters. There was something desperate on the night air. I felt the damp snap of wind against my skin. It carried the disquiet of cold mountains and deep ocean. I looked over the water at darkness. Prince Rupert, like so many northern places, must be felt to be believed. At a distance, it is hard for me to think there is actually such a place. The next morning I awoke in a panic. I didn't know where I was, so I racked my brain through a photo album of images, but couldn't turn up the right one. Dark place, low ceiling, drafty windows. I knew from vague recollection of other displaced awakenings recently that I was somewhere early in my expedition to the land of snow, which had dominated my imagination for more than a year. Vancouver came to mind, then the Pacific, then Prince Rupert. The hostel. Top floor of the hostel. I dressed and went down to the kitchen, where I ate what fresh food I had left: carrots, broccoli, some leftover fried chicken I had craved on my midnight walk. In an alcove I noticed a young couple I had seen several times since leaving Vancouver on a small ferry 3 days before. They were quietly enjoying their breakfast, but when our eyes met, I walked over to greet them. The pair were from Halifax and were touring Canada. The husband spoke with a French accent. He had noticed my luggage and was curious to hear my story. "Aren't you worried about the grizzlies?" he finally asked from behind his tidy brown beard. "Not really," I said. "Well, you should be." The reply was unexpectedly peremptory. "I figure in a week I'll be into winter weather, and they'll be asleep. I'll take precautions. Until then, I'll mostly be near the road."